It's the fighter pilot versus the astronaut. Martha McSally touting her time in the Air Force, while Mark Kelly talks up his time with NASA. Both are using their resumes to bolster their campaigns.
Mark Kelly has revealed his true colors. He's too liberal for Arizona.
That color may be green. Democratic Senate candidate Mark Kelly is the top fundraiser not just in Arizona, but in any Senate campaign nationwide.
Former astronaut Mark Kelly, who's a Democrat running against incumbent Martha McSally for the U.S. Senate, has already raised the most amount of money of any person for Senate, even more than Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Again, Senate Majority Leader, and then you have Mark Kelly, who's just a candidate, and he's at the top of the pack for fundraising. According
to this list compiled by the OH Predictive Insights using Federal Elections Commission data, Kelly has also topped Lindsey Graham. Martha McSally is 6th on this list. And chief pollster and managing partner at OH Predictive says he believes that's why McSally is going on the attack.
Well, I think what it is that finally McSally's under pressure that not only is she losing the cash race, she's not doing well in the polling, but also, you know, Mark Kelly is relatively new on the scene. He hasn't been defined. It's very indicative in the polling numbers that we've been seeing, but also McSally is incredibly defined. She cannot really move one way or the other. So I think she's trying to define not only Kelly, but also maybe take the fight to him, because so far, I don't think in 2019 it would be viewed as, you know, she had a lot of wins against Kelly.
And expect even more ads and spending from the candidates as we get closer to November.
And in 2018, it was the 4th most expensive federal race in the country when it came to spending. So, I mean, we're seeing not only that what we saw 2 years ago or a year ago was essentially a prelude to another kind of round 2 of that, but it just even at a higher level, they're on pace to just shatter all known records in Arizona when it comes to amount of money spent on the race.
The two candidates are working to highlight positive things that they're doing. Besides the True Colors ad, McSally also released an ad called Inspire, which shows Arizonans talking about the positive impact she's had on their lives. And yesterday, Kelly tweeted that he's reached 250,000 individual donors for his campaign. In the studio, Delaney White, Cronkite News.
And a bill guaranteed to workers' compensation for firefighters has passed the Arizona Senate. If this bill passes in the House, it has the potential to help firefighters who have been diagnosed with certain types of cancer due to workplace exposure to dangerous carcinogens. Ovarian and breast cancer will also be covered in this bill.
If our heroes are diagnosed with cancer from something that they were exposed to in a line of duty, we expect them to have workman compensation benefits. There will be no more guessing whether you will or not receive your benefits. You will receive your benefits.
Another new bill making its way through the Arizona Senate would make birth control more accessible for women.
The bill, sponsored by Senator Michelle Ugenti-Rita, would allow pharmacists to give patients birth control pills, rings, and patches without a prescription.
Ugenti-Rita says requiring a doctor visit causes delays in getting the precautionary medication, which could lead to unplanned pregnancies. The bipartisan bill passed the Health and Human Services Committee and will be seen in the Rules Committee next.
So, we want to hear from you. Should birth control be as accessible as condoms? Over 100 of you have voted so far, with about 90% of you saying yes, including Patricia, who says, why would you deny a woman the ability to protect herself?
But Janice disagrees, saying, no, condoms don't require a prescription. Only a physician knows the type of birth control a woman needs. And it's not too late to join the conversation. Just go to our Cronkite News Facebook and Twitter feeds to vote in our live interactive poll. Last night, dozens of prison reform advocates gathered at the state capitol to battle for those behind bars. I talked to ACLU leaders and family members who believe Arizona lawmakers should support rehabilitation. Incarceration, up with liberation, down with incarceration. That was just one rallying cry from ACLU Arizona's second annual People Not Prisons Vigil. Supporters urged state lawmakers to pass laws for reforms like education programs to prepare people for life after prison.
We're here tonight to support earned release credit bills, which would bring people that are in prison home sooner to their families by participating in programs programming such as education, substance abuse, things of that nature, to help transition successfully back to society.
Williams says those at the rally on Wednesday night understand the cost of incarceration. That's true for Nicole Rennick, who believes her brother's sentence was unfair.
He bought 2 laptops off Craigslist, ended up getting 7 years.
According to the U.S. Department of Justice, prisoners in Arizona must serve 85% of their sentences. Mukhtar Najiullah spent 40 years in Arizona State Prison. He says that requirement is outdated.
It's way behind when it comes to criminal justice, and we need progressive people as county attorneys. You know, we need to give judges more ability to sentence rather than be hamstrung with mandatory sentencing. These are the things we need to do.
Legislative bills like HB 2036 would further tougher sentencing. As the opioid epidemic continues, the bill sets mandatory prison times for opioid use or sale. And Rennick is grateful that people are still fighting these odds. Advocates ended the rally with a candlelight vigil to remember prisoners who died before they had a chance for freedom.
A cruise ship that's quarantined off the coast of Japan has reported over 100 cases of the coronavirus. And we've learned now an Arizona physician is one of 3,700 passengers stuck on that ship. Dr. Summer Gunia and her husband have been quarantined for 13 days. In a phone interview Monday, she told KTAR they've been passing the time by playing cards and Sudoku puzzles. She said crew members bring them food and water. And there are also people in hallways making sure passengers don't leave their rooms. Tomorrow is the 14th day of quarantine, which means they'll be cleared to leave the ship.
Coming up next on Cronkite News at 5. The 2020 census is getting closer. And for some, that means fears and confusion are on the rise.
We took a look at how Arizona is working to prepare people for what will and won't be asked.
And can owning a gun improve your happiness? You may be surprised with the answer. Stick around to find out.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles.
In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia. From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
Cronkite Noticias is the Spanish-speaking division of Cronkite News, covering topics such as economics, education, sustainability, immigration, and border relations. Cronkite Noticias strives to serve the Spanish-speaking community in Arizona. Under the guidance of prominent Spanish-speaking professionals, students at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism develop content for our broadcast partner, Univision, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. Explore Cronkite Noticias at cronkitenoticias.azpbs.org.
A new decade means a new census.
Cronkite News reporter Alexa Fuenmayor gives us a look at how Arizona is preparing for it. Alexa.
The data collected for Census 2020 will be used for the next 10 years in different ways. As the census gets closer, the local community is working to increase participation while addressing concerns.
Census data can determine whose voice is heard at the local and regional levels.
As Arizona prepares to fill out the census, Bureau officials and community leaders participated in the Census Matters to Arizona Symposium, aimed at informing the public and hopefully put any lingering worries at ease.
It really is the foundation for us to know what is our community, what does it look like, where is it, and it's a baseline and a rich set of information for us to understand our world, understand changes, and sort of predict what are the kinds of things that we need to prepare for.
Held at the Buse Center for Law and Society on ASU's downtown campus, the symposium is the brainchild of ASU's Knowledge Exchange for Resilience, a partnership that connects community organizations with other resources. One of the topics tackled is the fear some minority groups may have over filling out the questionnaire. Last year, President Trump attempted to add a citizenship question to the 2020 census, but ultimately backtracked.
Nobody can get at our data. We never release any
any individual identifiable information to any type of government agency. The president can't even get information about a specific individual or community.
Not only does the census record the population, but it also potentially adds new seats in Congress and redistributes funds for public programs.
It's really important for Chicanos por la Causa because we rely on those numbers when we apply for grants to help the community. We service so many families, especially vulnerable families that are recipients of maybe public benefits, and we need to have the resources available. And the only way that we have that is if we can, when we apply for grants, we tell them and we give them accurate numbers.
What I hope that we get is a very accurate 2020 census. If it's very accurate, it's a reflection of who we are as a community.
Next month, invitations for the census will be mailed out. Data collection officially starts April 1st. You can fill out the census and submit it online, over the phone, or through traditional mail. In the studio, Alexa Fuenmayor, Cronkite News.
New research from a University of Arizona professor suggests owning a gun does not necessarily increase happiness. The study used questionnaires from 1973 to 2018 to isolate happiness levels and whether or not people owned a gun. After analyzing more than 37,000 responses, the study found gun ownership is unrelated to happiness, but apparently marriage is. Other factors that boosted a person's happiness included race, religion, and education. And up next, the city of Mesa came together to make history.
We'll show you what they accomplished and why they hope other cities will be inspired to become Autism Certified.
Every day I wake up, my first thought is, how can I serve this community?
The biggest hurdle was not taking PTSD personally.
Would you welcome, please, the amazing.
Everybody that watches this, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
The Arizona Supreme Court has decided to hear a lawsuit concerning tuition costs at the state's 3 public universities. In September of 2017, Attorney General Mark Brnovich sued the Arizona Board of Regents over tuition fees. He stated in the lawsuit the increase in tuition from University of Arizona, ASU, and NAU violated a state constitutional provision. And the city of Mesa made history this year, becoming the first city in the country to be autism certified.
Daria Yasmin reports on how the community came together to make this possible.
Well, it started with my son. The inspiration was my son.
Mark Garcia is the president and CEO of Visit Mesa. He talks about how his son was the inspiration behind Mesa becoming the first autism certified city in the country. Having a son on the autism spectrum has shown him how people working in the hospitality industry aren't educated enough about ASD. He says he wanted to work to have local companies and eventually the city as a whole become certified.
I wanted a top-to-bottom educational platform where employees in our industry were trained. We're learning what this disorder is. It's a sensory disorder and what it looks like and what the world may look like through the lens of somebody who has autism.
This certification is more than just a piece of paper. It helps bring organizations, companies, and the community together to be more inclusive.
People on the spectrum and families often are, there's not the feeling of being included. And I think when our organizations are learning about autism and understanding behaviors with autism, they're better able to welcome people into the community and also give them opportunities they may not have had without that education there.
One way that Mesa organizations incorporate their certification is by offering services to out-of-town guests.
families that are visiting are able to contact our department and schedule their times that they'd like for our respite services to come in and work with their children. So our services are designed by board-certified behavior analysts and are tailored to work with individuals on the spectrum in a place that they're comfortable.
Having multiple avenues of support throughout the community, including the involvement of city officials, has greatly helped bring this goal to fruition.
So everybody from the mayor and the city manager to council, and just the departments within the city have all been eager to participate, eager to get certified, but really to be known as the first city that holds this certification. We're proud as a chamber to be part of this and to know that the city leadership is behind this all the way.
Overall, Juarez says this certification is positively impacting people on the spectrum and their families alike.
With our organizations becoming certified, we are able to get these people in the community participating, being active members, which also leads to better treatment outcomes being included in our community. And for families as well, it increases quality of life for everyone.
In Mesa, Daria Yasmin, Cronkite News.
Mesa hopes their efforts will inspire other cities across the country to become autism certified as well. Now, one thing we can't be certain of is the weather. So, please, I mean,
that's exactly why we have CJ here. So what can we expect?
Yeah, for real, guys. I know it's been kind of cold and windy the past couple of weeks, but every time we get to Thursday, it seems that things go back to normal, and I'll show you what we're talking about, starting with Phoenix Sky Harbor. As you can see right now, it's 65, clear and sunny. Nothing too crazy to report from here, so it's looking like it's going to be another pleasant day today as well. Moving on to this evening, those temperatures will begin to drop, obviously, as night falls. It's expected to be around 66 by 6 p.m., but by 10 o'clock, we will be down into the mid-50s, so those temperatures will be pretty chilly tonight, nevertheless. Looking at this across the state as a whole, right now in Phoenix it's 46, so we're not experiencing any freezing temperatures, but the story changes once we go up north to the high country. As you can see, it is 27 in Prescott, 21 in Flagstaff, and 16 in Grand Canyon. So the north and to northeast part of the state is definitely experiencing those below freezing temperatures. And y'all might be thinking, well, what does that mean for my Valentine's Day plans? Well, lucky for y'all, if you're in the valley, it probably won't be affected too much, because tomorrow is looking like to be another beautiful and sunny, bright day. Perfect for probably a midday picnic. It's going to be 68 around 6 o'clock, and we will get down to the high 50s by 10. So as the nighttime rolls around, you might want to roll into somewhere indoors, perhaps in a movie or maybe like a dinner date. Just some recommendations. That will carry on over to this weekend. Friday's looking like to be another beauty. Saturday and Sunday, so the story is the same. And as we go on to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're looking like it's going to be another beautiful week as well. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm CJ Chidas.
When we come back, the story of an ASU athlete who's made a legacy for herself.
Not only was she the first female wrestler at ASU, but her time on the mat is now inspiring others.
Ready to watch the best of PBS anytime, anywhere, on nearly any device? It's easy with the free PBS Video app. Simply download the PBS Video app on your mobile or streaming device. Now you can watch the latest PBS episodes or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and local content from your PBS station.
The weather around Phoenix is just beautiful today. Let's take a look at the weather around the valley.
Thank you for joining us for the special edition of Cronkite News. Here are the top stories that we're tracking today at noon. Some of the best players for their program.
Hey, I'm Rick Steves. You know, I don't go anywhere without my passport. And now, thanks to PBS Passport, you can travel with me and watch all 10 seasons of Rick Steves Europe and all my travel specials. This exclusive streaming service is just for our members. Not only can you see all my shows, but you can see thousands of hours of your favorite public television shows. Become a member today and get your passport.
The wrestling mat. It's a place where you'll find plenty of men, but not so many women. But Mackenzie Pavicic sat down with a couple of women hoping to help change that.
It's never easy to be the first to do something. Even with my own career, like, you were the first to wrestle for ASU, and that's great and all, but there were days where it wasn't so great.
In 2007, Kelsey Campbell became the first female wrestler on Arizona State University's roster. But it wasn't about being the first. It was about being her best.
At the time, I was kind of struggling with structure from a scholastic standpoint and a wrestling standpoint, and I felt like if I try out for the team, I have nothing to lose.
So she did, and by becoming one of the very few women to ever walk on to a Division I roster, Campbell helped pioneer a decades-long effort to bring women's wrestling to the same stage as the men. But like any trailblazing effort, not without a little struggle.
Being accepted, feeling part of the team, finding that place where you understand that the success that you may have in the room is going to be gauged a little different. I would think that those are some of the issues.
Like many other Sun Devil greats, when Kelsey's ASU career came to an end, she wanted to continue on to her dream of becoming an Olympic champion. But in order to be able to do so, she had to find somewhere to train where she had access to more female training partners. So Campbell made the decision to move to the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. But as popularity in the sport, especially among women, continues to grow, Campbell is now able to train for the Olympics back in her home gym thanks to a concept called regional training centers.
We took the center up in Colorado Springs where you had 3 coaches, and now we have many, many coaches across the country.
So RTCs give women like Marley Smith a place to train if they don't want to attend a school traditionally meant for women's wrestling.
I wouldn't worry about Marley.
Smith says she decided to come to ASU because it was the best place for her to train and to study family and human development, even if that meant having to wrestle in a room filled mostly with men.
A lot of the schools that I was checking out didn't have that major, and the women wrestling schools were just in the middle of nowhere. They were small. I just loved it here.
Smith started as an RTC athlete, but now she follows in the footsteps of wrestlers like Campbell. She even gets to share the mat with her.
She's not just like, oh, she wrestles and she wants to join the team. Like, it was more like she's really trying to do something big.
Smith says she's not stopping at breaking into a men's roster. She hopes to help ASU become the first Division I school to have a women's wrestling program.
Having the guys is obviously a good thing and it helps me a lot, but it would be better if there were other women here.
And the future of women wrestling at the Division I level?
You know, some say 5, some say 10. I've had some conversations, they think as early as next year. And there's a lot of questions as far as a facility, coaches, Title IX numbers depending on your school. I think those are a lot of questions that still have to be answered.
While those answers are being found, women will continue to work toward passing the torch to the next generation of female wrestlers with hopes that they can compete at the Division I level. In Tempe, Mackenzie Pavicic, Cronkite Sports Report.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon.
On the next Arizona Horizon, how the state's education funding has dropped as compared to national averages, and we'll get a preview of Arizona Theater Company's upcoming season. That's on the next Arizona Horizon.
That's it for Cronkite News. Thanks for joining us tonight.
And for top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
I'm Mark Tarbell. Join me for an all-new episode of Plate and Pour. This week, we're all about the whiskey. We'll visit Hamilton Distillers for some Whiskey Del Bach in Tucson. Check out the Scotch Library in Scottsdale. And see what's smoking at Starlight Barbecue and Whiskey Bar. All this and more, so don't miss an all-new episode of Tonight at 7, only on Arizona PBS.
I'm Alberto Rios. Join me on the next Art in the 48. Together, we'll explore the arts right here in Arizona with the people who are creating art and sharing it too. So look around your community. Art is everywhere. An all-new Art in the 48, tonight at 7:30, only on Arizona PBS.
Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
I grew up waiting for the nights during the week when Nova would be on because I was so deeply interested in science.
We haven't seen anything like this before.
And it was inspiring for me as a young person to be able to learn about it in the masterful way that Nova presents it, and with Ken Burns. And I learned so much about the Civil War, not only the facts of the war, but the feel of the war. PBS has a way of educating, informing, and entertaining the public that I don't think anybody can match.
It's more unbelievable than anything we could have imagined.
David Hemphill, born in 1948. Black culture is our history, a very, very important contribution to the fabric of America. We should all have hope that is inspired by knowing we are a powerful people, and hope that we would instill that strength and that power of purpose in our young people.
PBS Online. Share, tweet, watch.
Coming soon to Arizona PBS.
Washington Week is an island of civil discourse in a chaotic media environment. On Friday nights, we gather the best reporters in the nation and have a conversation that's about informing the American people.
Washington Week. All new Friday night at 7 on Arizona PBS. Because kids will always be more curious, Arizona PBS delivers programs that serve as a trusted guide for little explorers. Thanks to you and...
Support comes from the Butterfly Wonderland, where the rainforest is in Scottsdale. The Butterfly Conservatory has more than 3,000 free-flying butterflies, reptiles, and insects too. More information is online at butterflywonderland.com.
I'm Susan Linkus of the Linkus Group, a fee-based registered investment advisor specializing in financial planning, investment management, insurance strategies, and more. LinkusGroup.com, investing for life.
Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, how does Arizona compare to national averages when it comes to public education spending? We'll break down some numbers. Also tonight, I'll look at efforts to improve workmen's compensation for first responders dealing with cancer. And we'll have a preview of Arizona Theater Company's 54th season. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.